Hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dead by Daylight. And for today's video, I decided that we are actually going to be doing a discussion. This discussion video is going to be primarily revolved around the state of DBD, the cheater excursion, and just overall just a few things that I really wanted to talk about in regards to DBD and the fact that VHS is right on its coattail. So the video recordings that you're going to be seeing today are 2 out of the 7 games that I played for the survey. Both of them that I chose today are killer games. One is a killer game with the Huntress, which I believe was my third or fourth game for the survey. And the last video for today is going to be the Nurse, which is going to be the 7th and final game for the survey that we all had to do for the community survey thing, But I'm excited to go ahead and jump into these topics, jump into these discussions with you guys, and I would really like to see in the comments, see what you guys feel about the game, see where it's going, and whether or not VHS will actually be able to stand up there with, the giants. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Hello everybody, welcome back to the video. So today, once again, we are going to be discussing the current state of DBD with some gameplay in the background just for good measure. So as you all know, Dead by Daylight is actually currently going through and reworking over 40 perks in the game. That's absolutely insane. Everybody has been talking about the meta needs to get shifted up, and unfortunately for a lot of people, everybody was mostly just thinking that it was that the developers weren't gonna listen, that they were just gonna ignore us, and that nobody was gonna be heard, basically. I mean, for the longest time, this company's golden standard has been silence above all else. I can't help back to think about when Patrick was talking about the cheater excursion in Dead by Daylight, and he had the audacity to say that, we don't want to talk about what we're doing behind the scenes because then the cheaters will know what we're doing. And it's like, look, dude, we're not asking for you to tell us exactly what you plan on doing with the cheaters. We just want an acknowledgement, and that's primarily what's been going on with behavior in a nutshell. A lot of the problems that are going on with the community, the toxicity and everything, I feel like a lot of these problems would just be addressed if behavior just actually, communicated with us. But I mean, I digress at this point. I mean, with this most recent 6th anniversary reveal, a lot of things are coming down the pipeline. And once again, as I said at the beginning, we have the 40 perk changes that are going to be coming to Dead by Daylight. Now, a lot of them don't really mean a lot. And what I mean by that is primarily for the first about 10 perks, this is really what's going to shake up the meta for both killers and survivors, right? So looking at the list right now, the 5 most used killer perks are Barbecue and Chili, Corrupt Intervention, Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, Hex Ruin, and Pop Goes the Weasel. Now, these are the most used perks, statistically speaking, for a killer. And that's what they have recorded in their notes and everything, and that's what it says. There's even a line graph that shows the usage per game going up drastically over time, with Barbecue and Chili being what looks to be one of the most used perks in Dead by Daylight. Now, as far as anybody is concerned with Barbecue and Chili, I highly doubt anybody uses it for the aura reading capabilities at this point. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, it's a cool added bonus putting someone on the hook and you know, being able to see a target more than 40 meters away. Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that gives you snowball potential and allows you to see what you're doing when it comes to chasing down killers, or I'm sorry, chasing down other survivors, right? But when it comes to these other perks, yeah, I can see where it starts to become a problem. So I'm looking at the perk list right now, and it's saying that, let's see here, it's saying that Hex Ruin, wow, not nearly as much as I thought it would be. Just sitting above the 35% threshold for Hex Ruin, but it looks like this perk right here looks like Corrupt Intervention is just absolutely jumping in numbers of reported matches, with Corrupt Intervention getting as high as almost, what is that? That's almost 47% of matches according to this graph, if I'm reading this correctly. You know, that's absolutely insane. And I mean, Corrupt Intervention is definitely good, but it definitely is more of an added bonus for killers that require setup, you know. Killers like, you know, killers like the Trapper, Hag, pretty much anyone like that, you know. But it definitely does help. It's a good perk overall. It's not just for the setup killers, you know. But I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. And then we have Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance, which once again was, I mean, this is a fairly new perk too. It's not like this is an old perk, you know, like Barbecue and Chili, you know, that's remained in the meta for, you know, since its inception, back when Leatherface first came out. But I mean, looking at this chart, Jesus Christ, it goes from its inception to being used less than 5% of the time to just about the amount of Corrupt Intervention. So it seems like almost in tandem, if people use Corrupt Intervention in tandem with Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance, and that's absolutely massive, you know. With Scourge Hook doing the 9% generator regression every time someone is hooked on a Scourge Hook, you know, compared with Corrupt Intervention, which blocks 3 of the furthest generators from the killer at the start of the match for 2 minutes. That's a long time. Not only is that a long time, but the generators that are being worked on, you know, Scourge Hook doesn't care whether you're working on the generator or not. It's one of those perks where, regardless of whether anybody's on the generator or not, the generator with the highest amount of progression is going to get knocked by 9%. And on top of that, if you're on it, you know, you're also going to scream, notifying the killer of your location. So, I mean, absolutely insane, right? Then we have Hex Ruin. Everybody knows what Hex Ruin does, you know. Pop goes the weasel. Everybody knows what Pop does, you know. It's unfortunate to see that Pop is also going under the nerf hammer as well, you know. I still remember when Tide Time used to really be into this game, and he had made I don't think it was actually Tide. Actually, no, I think this was Space Coconut. I think Space Coconut, when he was still playing Dead by Daylight, had made a comment about how Pop Goes the Weasel, you know, only being 45 seconds was not fair, considering that, you know, Decisive was also 60 seconds as well. You know, Decisive being 60 seconds, Pop Goes the Weasel being 45. I mean, I'm not saying the two perks are comparable, not in any sort of relevant sense, but like, The excuse that they used for nerfing Pop Goes the Weasel was that, oh, you know, it with 60 seconds, you can do a lot in 60 seconds. You know, 60 seconds is a long time to be able to do a lot of things as a killer. You can get a couple chases down. You could knock down one person, go kick a generator, go back, put that person you just downed on the hook, and then you have Pop Goes the Weasel again. And Space Coconut ended up snapping back with, okay, now do the same thing for Decisive. And their Band-Aid fix was making it so that, you know, you can't interact with anything as a survivor. You can't heal another survivor. You can't touch a generator. You can't touch a totem. You basically can't do anything. You know, if you want to hide out in a locker for 60 seconds, you can go ahead and do that. But you wouldn't be getting much else done. Right? So it's very sad to see these killer perks get put under the wire, or get put under the nerf hammer, because I mean, híjole, I mean, these perks are pretty much quintessential for a lot of killers. A lot of killers need these perks, right? A lot of them, at least to stay in the top in the red ranks. You know, or I guess ranks don't matter anymore, but high MMR killers, you know, they need these perks, you know, especially with the perks that survivors have now, you know. So I don't know. It's definitely something interesting to see. So far, we don't have any word as to how they are going to be reworked. There is a content creator by the name of Choi. He is an excellent Dead by Daylight content creator. I'll go ahead and link his video in the comment section below, but he made an excellent video speculating as to what the changes will be for these perks and what he would like to see changed in all 40 of the perks, right? Once again, absolutely excellent video. I definitely recommend it to anyone that's interested in learning about what these perks do and what they could possibly do and how they could possibly be tweaked in the future, right? So now we're on to survivor perks. Now, it's no surprise Dead Hard just absolutely blows all other perks out of the water. It's not even a competition. It's not even there's nothing else to say. It's not even, right? There's really nothing else to say about this perk other than it is definitively the most used perk in the entire game. With as for the chart that is being shown on Dead by Daylight, the website, which once again I will leave the graphs and everything in the description below, just in case you want to go ahead and take a look at it and see the numbers for yourself, because I mean they're absolutely just staggering. But to see this perk Dead Hard go from, you know, its inception, I guess, you know, being at about 18-19%, jumping all the way to, what is that, 74%? 74% of survivors have Dead Hard. And, you know, I can't talk as well because, I mean, I have Dead Hard on some of my survivors as well. Which, I mean, it's, at this point, it's just, it's a necessary evil, you know. Playing as both killer and survivor, you know, allows for that certain perspective of knowing that, yes, Dead Hard is an excellent perk, and it's unfortunate because there's no reason to not run Dead Hard. You know what I mean? Like, not running Dead Hard, you are just quite literally putting yourself in a detriment for no other reason. There is no better perk. Like, you can say all you want, oh, you know, I think Borrowed Time is the better perk, or I think Boon Circle of Healing is the better perk, and, you know, you can make arguments for that. But there is no other perk in the game. No other perk in the game that can even come close to the amount of pressure that Dead Hard can generate in just one usage. All it takes is one Dead Hard marked at the right time. Just one. Just one Dead Hard used at the correct time, and you can extend a chase for another 30 to 45 seconds. Even more if you get some god loops going, you know. So to see Dead Hard, like, I knew Dead Hard was going to be a really used perk, but to see it being in almost over 75% of builds, it's at 74. That is just astronomical, right? And the other perks don't even come close, right? They don't even come close, right? So we have Borrowed Time coming in at, what is that? That's less than 50%, so about 48, 49%. 49%? That's just absolutely monstrous. Absolutely monstrous, you know. And we have Decisive Strike. Decisive Strike is more used than Borrowed Time, you know. And this is, you know, this is a build in it of itself, you know. Because we have both Spine Chill and Iron Will. You know, I'm looking at it, and I don't know why they made Spine Chill and Iron Will so similar in colorations. I don't know if they did that on purpose. I don't know why they would do that, but I would naturally assume that Iron Will would be the one most used out of either Spine Chill or Iron Will. So, with that being said, I mean, that's your survivor build right there. Dead Hard, Borrowed Time. Yeah, Dead Hard, Borrowed Time, Decisive Strike, Iron Will. Boom. That's your survivor build right there. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've seen that exact perk build on not just one survivor, just multiple survivors in a match, you know. The fact that these perks are getting reworked, I think, is a good thing for Dead by Daylight, because shaking up the survivor meta will do a lot more for the killers, right? And in shaking up the survivor perks, it would allow the killers to run more diverse builds. Because, I mean, when you have a perk like Dead Hard, which is, you know, just press E to avoid damage or press E to gain distance, you know, it ultimately becomes one of those things where it's like, it's not even really fair, because as a killer, you can't make mistakes. As a killer, you can't hold the game hostage. The survivors have all the power. The survivors are the power role in this game. And if you think otherwise, I'm sorry to say, but you are deluded. There is no other game where survivors have this much power and the community thinks otherwise. It just baffles me to think that people actually think that killers have a chance in this game. Unless you're running Nurse, full perks, full add-ons every game, unless every single killer decides to run Nurse and no one else, you know, the survivors are just gonna stomp all over you, you know. But I digress, right? So, as far as the survivor perks, the 5 most common survivor perks that we have that are going to be worked on: Dead Hard, Borrowed Time, Decisive Strike, Iron Will, and Self-Care. Now, all of these perks are, I mean, all interchange those 5 perks with each other, and, you know, you can only use 4 of them. That's a solid build right there. Any of the 5 perks that I just said, you can throw them into your perk build in any order, and that will be a solid build, right? Dead Hard, Borrowed, Dead Hard, Decisive, Iron Will, Self-Care. Boom, solid build. Dead Hard, Borrowed, Iron Will, Self-Care. Solid build, right? You don't even need Dead Hard at this point. Borrowed Time, Decisive Strike, Iron Will, Self-Care. Once again, that's a solid build in and of itself. You know, these perks that are going to be worked on are going to absolutely shake up the meta of this game. And honestly, I can't wait. I genuinely cannot wait. I am actually excited to see what kind of changes are going to be coming to Dead by Daylight. Do I love this game? I still do. I still do. I still remember the day that my brother told me about this game because he saw, I think it was H2O Delirious playing this game, which was like 5-6 years ago almost. And it had just come out on console. I had bought it for my Xbox that day because I just had some extra money. I was like, you know what? It's only 20 bucks, you know, or I think it was like maybe 30 or 40 at the time. I can't remember. But either way, I purchased the game and we had an absolute blast with it. He ended up dropping off. He stopped playing it, but ironically enough, I was the one who was actually interested in the game. So I started playing. And now here I am, you know, starting to make content for this game, and you know, I don't know. It's funny to just see how life works and operates, but so yeah, those are my thoughts on the current update or the future updates that are going to be coming to Dead by Daylight in terms of the 40 survivor perks. As far as the state of Dead by Daylight goes, you know, yeah, it's cool that these updates are coming out, but I mean, still currently, you know, it's really hard to say. We're in a state right now where things are still kind of, I guess, screwy, maybe the right word to say. I don't know, but overall, major point is that the updates that are coming to this game are going to absolutely change the way that we even perceive about thinking about Dead by Daylight. Now, as far as toxicity in the community goes, I mean, that's a discussion for another day, which I definitely will be talking about. But for right now, I mean, as far as the state of things go, you know, I wish that they were better, but unfortunately they won't be till, I don't know, midsummer, August, around that time frame. So once again, thank you all so much for watching today's video. I very much hope that you enjoyed today's back-to-back double feature with the Huntress and the Nurse. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. See you later, guys.